Thank you for joining me today on Ready, Aim, Stamp. Today we are going to use the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set and the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper to make this Tri-Shutter Fold card. And voila! I used the color scheme and this part of the Designer Series paper to decide what colors I would use. And on the back of the Designer Series paper packs, it tells you what colors were used in the packs. This pack used Bumblebee, Cajun Craze, Crumb Cake, Misty Moonlight, and Soft Succulent. So let's gather our supplies and get ready, aim, and stamp. So just kidding, before we start, I want to show you some other cards that I made with this Tri-Shutter card sample. This one uses the Penguin Pals or Playful Penguins. Can't remember. I keep wanting to call it different names. And the special Designer Series paper that is one of the celebration items. Have a little card to add a writing in. You could write on the back, but not everybody's going to think to look on the back. So there's one. And then second one, where I used basic white and I just used my blender brushes to give it the sky and the grass. And then I used the counting sheep and the dies from Celebration to decorate that up. And one other is using the Delicate Dahlias and let me think of the name of it, Beautifully Penned Designer Series paper. Those are both in the Celebration. And I made this one, again with the little card flap to write in. And let me get these out of the way and I'll show you what we're going to cut. So we're going to take a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We're going to cut it down to 11 by 5.5. We are going to score at 1 3/4 down. If you can stop scoring at the 1.5 inch mark, that's great. If not, it's not a big deal either. And then you're going to start again at the 4 inch mark and score down to the bottom. Score at 3 1/2 inches, 7 inches, and then 8 3/4. At the 3.5 and the 7, you're just going to score all the way down. At the 8 3/4, you're going to do like on this one, score down to 1.5, and then start scoring again at 4, and then go down to the bottom. And then you're going to rotate your paper, and you're going to line your cutting blade up. This side is 1.5 inches. Line it up with the 1 3/4, and then you're going to cut all the way down to 8 3/4. Slide it over till your 1.5 inch marker is over here, and you're going to repeat that process. For the Designer Series paper pieces, I'll just show you real quick. We're going to need one piece that is 1 1/2 by 5 1/4. A piece that is 2 inches by 5 1/4. Two pieces that are 3 1/4 by 1 1/4. There. And 4 pieces that are 1 1/2 by 1 1/4 for these little. And you can add layers, you can choose to just stamp on the cardstock that's your base. You have lots of options with this. One thing you could choose to do is have another piece of cardstock here that you've stamped on. And here's just an optional size 3 1/2 by 2 1/4. It would work for both of these ends. And then 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 is the size for this. Well, 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. But if you want to do a little fold up card, then you would do 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 and score at 2 1/4. So there you have that. All right, so we're going to just move this out of the way, and I'm going to bring in the paper trimmer and a piece of terracotta tile cardstock. And we're going to trim it to the 5 1/2 by 11 inches. And then we're going to hold on to this piece and use it for some of the little trim. I guess you can't see that picture. And I'm going to open up my arm to its full extent. And I'm going to look at my diagram so I don't go to the wrong sizes. I'm doing my scoring first. I'm going to start, whoops, that's in the way. I'm going to start at 1 3/4. And I'm trying to score down to 1 1/2. Then I'm not going to put pressure on. I'm just going to slide this down to 4, put the pressure to score, and score there. So hopefully you can see that there's a spot where it stops scoring. It's kind of hard to see in this light and on camera. My next spot is 3 1/2 inches, and I'm going to score just all the way. Then I'm going to move my paper down to 7 inches, and I'm going to score all the way. And then I'm going to slide it to 8 3/4 inches. And I'm going to score up to 4, slide it to 1 1/2, and I'm going to score again. Now I'm going to turn it, slide it, turn it, and I'm going to line it up with the 1 1/2 inch, move my scoring blade out of the way, pull my cutting blade down to that 1 3/4 inches. There's a ruler on here that you can use. Some cardstocks it's harder to see, but you can also line it up with that score mark. Slide it down and stop at 8 3/4. Then I'm just going to slide it over to 1 1/2 inches on this side. Start again at 8 3/4. Score up to 1 1/2. Now I'm going to get the paper trimmer out of the way. Oops. And you'll see that there's like a little pocket or slit. So now on this thinner end, that's my front, I am going to do a mountain fold. And then down here, I'm going to start them both as valleys. But wait, this one becomes a mountain and the little ones become valleys. And then this one is a valley and 2 mountains. And then 2 valleys. So there it folds up, and you have this cute little edge there. And I'm just gonna burnish those a little to kind of encourage it to stay. So now we're ready to decorate, and I have already cut my designer series paper, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and put down first, if I can get it to come up in my hand. So again, I have 4 pieces that are 1 1/2 by 1 1/4. Then I have 2 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 1 1/4. One piece that's 1 inch by 5 1/4. And one piece that is 2 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue. And if you can't see this script on this pretty little paper very well to tell which way is up or down, you can always look at the wrong side or the back. And if it's going right side up, then your script is going right side up. It's a very tiny script, so it's hard to see. I always get curious about what it says, and sometimes I try to read it. I've never gone to the extent of getting out a magnifying glass to read it, but maybe someday. And I think that designer series paper actually coordinates, this actual particular pattern coordinates with one of the newer dies, and it is the Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder. So that looks like it pretty well would coordinate. Except for this is typed and this is script, so they made it a little bit different. Alright, so now we're going to glue on these little panels. I was thinking that this lighter orange looked more like Calypso Coral, but they said Cajun Craze on the back, so I'm going with it. And I think it looks good together no matter what, so. And you could also, you know, use the blue sides and have Misty Moonlight be your main color with the basic white and maybe throw in a pop of another color. And that would be really fun too. I thought about doing 2 different color samples, but I did not. These little corners. You could definitely stamp on those little panels or little pieces. You could do more layering than I did. You could take a different colored cardstock, run it through embossing folders so you have different textures on the different panels. So many options. And one last of these. There we go. Now I'm going to set this aside and I am going to grab the big sunflower stamp, the little sunflower stamp, and my Evening Evergreen stamp pad, Bumblebee, and Cajun Craze, and then the phrase that says, "Congratulations on reaching a whole new level of wonderful." Be right back. Alright, so here I am back. I already die cut some of the little shapes that we're going to use out of these delicate ones. With sunflower itself, I didn't have any trouble with, but these little guys are so delicate. I tried rubbing a used dryer sheet on my die to help it release better, and that helped a lot with this 2-stem guy. But this guy still had trouble, and so I ended up putting a piece of printer paper on top of the cardstock, and that helped it release better. I'm going to set those aside for now. I have my piece of basic white cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 and scored at 2 1/4. And I'm just going to take a large Post-it note and I'm going to use the straight edge of that to help mark off the front of this, because part of my little sunflowers go off the edge. And I'm going to stamp this little card first. So I'm going to grab my Bumblebee. And it's really an amazingly dark yellow ink. And I just want it to be a subtle background. So I'm going to stamp off twice and then stamp my image. Got my whole camera shaking. And I'm just going to do some random sunflowers around the card. And they can overlap a little bit, not a big deal. Okay, and I'm going to rinse that off. And then I'm done with the Bumblebee ink. And I'm going to use Cajun Craze for the sentiment. And I'm going to use it at full strength. So a lot of times I use my block to help me know if my stamp is straight. And then I have a better success. Hopefully that works. And sometimes I'll use my grid paper to test that the cinnamon is on my block straight. And then I can make some adjustments. So I know I need to kind of twist a little bit to the top, a little bit to the right. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. If you use your Stamparatus, you know you can get a straight, clear image of your cinnamons every time. That's not too bad. Alright, so I'm done with that one. And I'm done with the Cajun Craze. And I'm just going to rinse my hands off really well because I get ink on them. And then sometimes that ink transfers to my project. And then I get irritated with myself. Alright. So now we're done with this sticky note. And we can use our bone folder to burnish that. We'll set it up there to add on in a minute. And I'm going to use Soft Succulent cardstock, the Evening Evergreen stamp pad. And I'm just going to ink up both the big sunflower and the small sunflower. Give them a little bit of room so that I can just run them through the die machine at the same time. And there we go. And that is all the stamping we're going to do. So I can set those aside. Now I saw a trick and I can't remember. I'm sorry whoever came up with it. To find a point on your sunflower die that you'll be able to remember and line up your sunflower petals with. Now watch, I won't be able to do it. Oh, goodness. Right. This is my big leaf. There. That's right. I was thinking it was the wrong one. So the lady did over here to the side that I saw, and I did straight up and down. So I was still thinking that I had done it the way she had, but I did not. I was a rebel. Did it my own way, but then I keep trying to make it match up to the way she did it. So I'm just going to put these on here. Use my washi tape so that they don't shift around. And I'm going to go run these through the die machine. I'll be right back. Alright, so now we're almost done with our card. I am going to take care of my big sunflower first. I'm going to add this little terracotta tile cutout for the center. If my glue will come out, I will. And that there. And then I am going to position this on here. Now, if you have something hanging over, the best flap to do that on is this first little T-shaped panel, because it's going to be the one that closes all the way. So, and then just be aware when you're putting glue on, where not to glue, so that you don't get your whole panels all stuck together. Kind of defies the purpose of having all those panels in the folds and cuts. So good, my glue is clear. So then I'm going to take the white cutout and kind of figure out where it goes on here. You don't have to line it up how it goes, but I like to if I can figure it out. And watch, I'm not going to figure it out. There. All right. So I'm going to take my mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and I am just going to put 4 of them, and I'm going to try to avoid the little holes in the center. that I don't cover those up. And 4. You could probably put 5 or whatever, but I don't want to overkill. Alright. And here we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oops. There's that one. Then I am going to glue these guys on, and I want to make sure that they don't go past this fold part. So around there is good. So I'm going to just grab some glue on it. Too much glue. I just want a little, not a lot. That's what I tell my girls, trying to get them not to use too much glue. They're 7, and they like to use the glue, especially glitter glue. They think that that stuff is paint and that they should just use it like it's going out of style. Good, that's going to cover that up. So then I have a guide for this delicate little guy. And there we go. Get you some good contrast over there. And then I'm going to put some glue on the back of that little sunflower. Glue it right here across this. Hides the ends of those and takes up that panel. Decorates it. Then we're going to glue on this little folded up card. So then we glued down that little card, and there is our tri-shutter card. And looks a little more complicated than it really is. There's kind of an idea of what it is. I'd have to switch my camera view to show you it actually staying up. Don't forget that through September 30th, celebration is going on. That's where you could get the Delicate Dahlia stamp, beautiful set, and the pinned, beautifully pinned paper, as well as the Counting Sheep and their dies are celebration items, and there are other beautiful items in there to choose from. Thank you again for watching and joining me on Ready, Aim, Stamp. Have a great day.